podcast.
Are you telling me that you built a time machine? Out of a podcast?
I have come here to chew bubblegum and
podcast.
And I'm all out of bubblegum.
All right, in 3, 2, 1. Hey everyone, and welcome to Get to the Podcast. That's Get to the Podcast with the number 2. I'm Thiago D'Souza.
I'm Nick Gambito.
And I'm Neil Carson.
And it's Christmas time.
Yes.
Time.
First of all, I just want to say something.
Christmas.
Nick's going to sound a little bit nicer today. Just because he had his tonsils removed about a week and a half ago.
I don't like you.
Well,
It's all the evil
I feel
that
like
was living in Nick.
I feel like my balls have been chopped off.
Yeah.
Because I'm a little subdued, so I'm not really going to go for the jugular on this one.
I feel like the evil was extracted.
yeah.
You're a piece of shit.
Like a Ghostbuster moment.
I'll still whisper
There it
it.
is.
You're
There
a
it
piece
is.
of shit.
There it is.
The venom is still there.
It's still
they never
there.
extracted the venom.
So it's not actually that Nick is
Yeah,
drunk.
I did get my tonsils removed.
Yeah.
So this is going to be for posterity. I'm going to listen to this 20 years later. I'm like, oh, that was that time I got my fucking tonsils removed. I had the worst sore throat of my life. Fantastic. It's all right. I had my first real solid food last night. I got to eat 2 slices of pizza. It took me an hour and a half. It took me a fucking
is
hour and a
hilarious.
half to eat 2 slices of
and
pizza.
they're thin crust.
It was thin crust, yeah. It was so painful. I was picking,
Can you picture that little block?
I was picking off the pepperoni like one by one and putting them aside, and then I would eat those after the pizza.
Oh, man.
He's just
one by
nibbling.
one.
It's the worst to associate pain and food in the same concept in
yeah.
your mind. You're like,
I know.
Oh my gosh.
Well,
All right.
It beats Jell-O.
So what are we talking about today, Nick?
yeah.
I feel like we're still in the holiday films, and I want to talk about some holiday
Well, we're all
movies.
big on the holidays, right? And we've got another just under a week. It's 6 days to Christmas, and I think we should keep talking Christmas.
Yeah.
I don't think we're done. I don't
No,
think we're
I
done
don't
because
think
you
so.
know what
What
we
do you
haven't
mean?
done yet. We're
You're
not
done until after New Year's.
until the fat man comes down the chimney.
Yeah.
Here's the-
Actually, we're not done until spring as far as I'm concerned. because
We're not done until the next
it's gonna be
Thanksgiving.
snowing and, yeah.
Well, here's the thing we haven't done yet. We haven't done our favorite Christmas movies, like our traditional
Yes.
Christmas movies.
Yeah.
Like we haven't done that list yet. We've done the non-traditional movies. We've
Yeah.
done Home Alone versus Home Alone 2.
Yeah.
We've done our favorite movie Santas, but we haven't talked about our favorite Christmas films.
Yeah.
Holiday films. They're really Christmas films. I mean,
I
I don't have any holiday.
yes.
I don't know how many holiday films to talk
I don't
about.
know.
I mean,
I
my
think-
holiday, they're all Christmas
Well,
related, but
You're
There's
right.
some of them
You're right,
that
they are,
span the whole
actually.
season, so
yeah, I guess so.
That's true.
But the ones we're talking about really are, they're
our
Christmas themed.
directly.
Yeah.
they-
But they either end
with-
on Christmas or Christmas is occurring during the film.
But the
or-
one thing is, they're not necessarily like religious Christmas, where like each one of the ones we're talking about are just kind of commercial Christmas films. They are, but they're about being a little nicer, being a bit of a better
we're
person.
not commercializing Jesus.
No, yeah, none. I'm not. I don't have Jesus of Nazareth on my list. I don't have.
Get
King
your
of Kings.
Jesus gift
the greatest
for only
story ever
99
told.
cents today here at Get to the Podcast. A Jesus gift. No,
I didn't put Passion of Christ on my list.
Is that a holiday film?
No, that's more of a Good Friday Easter film.
That is that is an amazing film. I feel like
It's really well done.
really,
but it
really
is-
well acted and well
Jesus.
directed. But man, it's a tough film to watch. It's a brutal film.
It is a
I mean, the
brutal-
Bible is a brutal story.
Oh my
but,
gosh.
Yeah,
That was-
it is brutal. That's still the highest. It's made the most money of any rated R film in history. Still,
Really?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
It beat out The Matrix.
Yeah.
Because I thought Matrix had reached that.
Yeah, well, it was 5 years after The Matrix, 6 years after The Matrix.
Oh, yeah.
No, it beat that, and Deadpool came close to taking the record, but never beat it.
Wow.
I mean, it's Passion of the Christ.
Yeah.
Every
There's
anyway.
a lot of passion in
Yeah.
that.
But
Jim
it's-
Caviezel, he was great.
Jim
in that.
Caviezel.
Caviezel.
Caviezel. I say
Caviezel?
Caviezel. I think it's Caviezel.
Kavitsa.
Good film.
Yeah.
But I don't know how we're on that. I guess we needed to do our obligatory Jesus Christ nod.
The first thing you said is like non-religious, and then we talk about religious film. Like, hey, we proved our point. Didn't we?
Yeah, well, it's Christmas is a lot of things, but it's supposed to be celebrating the birth of Christ.
Yes.
But
All right, can we just like
it's a mixture of pagan
He was born in
and
the
Christian
summer.
religions.
He was
and-
born in the summer.
I know.
It's a confusing
It just gets
thing.
real complicated.
Yeah.
I watched Da Vinci Code too many times. We need to.
Oh, so you're giving it the Tom Hanks twist?
Tom Hanks. I trust Tom Hanks. He wouldn't lie to me.
No, he wouldn't.
No,
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
Tom Hanks.
True.
All right, so I know both of you guys have a list.
You're freestyling?
I don't know. I don't know what to say.
I have a
enjoy
general
how.
list.
See, that's my thing. Is I don't have a specific holiday film. I just enjoy the season. Enjoy the films. I enjoyed sitting down with family and watching them. So I don't know if I have a specific one that, like, one of the things we're talking about is films that have made you cry.
Yeah. Oh, I said this to you. I was like,
Yeah,
hey, let's talk
exactly.
about Christmas movies that made us cry. And Diego's like, I've never cried a day in
That's
my life.
not what I fucking said. That's not the text. I have the text right
what
here, and I
heard.
just read it.
That's what I heard.
I said I never
Well, then
cried
I
a
said-
lot, keyword, a lot,
Yeah.
with holiday films.
I also have not cried a lot, or like, what was the term? Like I wasn't sobbing.
yeah,
or
I've
like-
never
yeah.
sobbed in a film.
I've
but
never
I've
gone
cried.
into like full on grief over
Yes.
or what, like, but they'll be like, single tear.
Yeah, welled up eyes, single tear down.
Welled up eyes, single
I've
tear.
straight up had sopping
I've had-
wet face. Yeah,
It's
my
rare,
cheeks
but
have gotten-
I don't know
it's
with
happened a few
I don't know
times.
with like a holiday film though. I don't know if that's happened.
Scrooge got me.
Scrooge gets me now, but like now as an adult, I'm like, you feel it coming on, you're like, nah.
You know what's weird?
like,
I
nah.
started experiencing it as a kid. Like emotional reactions to movies was something I experienced when I was very young.
Yeah.
Which was kind of my attachment to movies, why I got into movies so young, because they created an emotional response.
Right.
Like I felt something. I was like, geez, like anytime, there was like a breakup or there was like anything like a breakup or somebody lost somebody close to them or
Yeah.
there was some sort of like,
Well, the music
I would
lets you
empathize.
know when
Yeah.
it gets emotional.
I've
The
gotten
music
them,
gets
like-
me.
Music.
The music is a manipulating motherfucker.
yeah, I've gotten emotional
Music's like,
feelings,
and
but
now, audience.
I have never truly. I think like when your throat like swells up because you're kind of you can't actually breathe because you're getting emotional.
Yeah, you get a lump in the back of your throat.
Yeah, you got a
Yeah,
lump
yeah.
in the back of your throat, which you don't have anymore.
I don't have a throat anymore.
Yeah, no, I've gotten there. Like I still get that way with
Yeah.
It's a Wonderful Life. It's a
my
very
God.
old film, but still just
That
the
movie.
whole.
That's like this guy's favorite movie.
Is it? Oh,
It's really I love.
I haven't seen it in a long time.
We should watch it
We should.
tonight. Come on over. We'll watch it. Frank Capra directed
Yeah.
that movie. That movie is so goddamn good.
I love
It's-
Jimmy Stewart.
Jimmy
It's touching.
Stewart's
So
great
good,
in it.
yeah.
I mean, it's just that movie. It transcends time to me. It's a very dark movie, actually. There's a lot
Those
of
are the
dark
best
elements
ones.
to it. Yeah, it's very dark. I mean, there's like all types of shit. He's losing his goddamn mind in that movie. He's a bitter bastard. I mean, there's a point where he's about
Isn't
to
it
kill
in
himself.
in a weird way kind of like Scrooge
No,
No.
you mean Christmas Carol?
or
like?
Christmas Carol? Yeah.
You could kind of say that,
like
but
they're like
there's
similar,
tones,
a
there's
little bit
elements.
similar things where he kind of can go.
the angel comes in to kind of show
You can
him
see
his
the
past.
elements,
Yes,
yeah.
he brings him back to his past to what. Yes, there is that element of it.
Yeah.
But something about the film, it does kind of it's not particularly Christmas Carol, but it does have that element. The angel comes down.
Right, it's showing
Clarence-
you how like things that,
In the
that
past,
were,
yes.
and like it gives you like this
Are,
thing where you
yeah.
can kind of like have different
Yeah.
perspective on
Yeah.
how things are going in the present,
Yes.
and how you can change for the better type thing.
Definitely, that is
Yeah.
definitely true, and he kind of learns his lesson from that. But because based off just the way the film plays out and the way it is, and the way even his character is, you don't really make that connection to Christmas Carol. It's very
Right.
much its own story. But yes, it does have that element of it.
Yeah.
But it's so well acted. The story is heart wrenching. The villain played by I think it's Lionel Barrymore, which is one of the Barrymore. Is it John Barrymore or Lionel? I don't fucking remember.
Oh, Drew Barrymore's grandfather.
Yes,
or
his
something?
grandfather. Yeah, he
Oh, wow.
plays Mr. Potter. He's the piece of shit banker
Yeah.
who is kind of screwing them over, and they're like a little lending company.
Yeah.
Jimmy Stewart and runs it with his uncle or whatever, and he kind of took it over from his dad who died, and he's been stuck there, and he was about to go
Yeah.
off and make his fortune and have a great time, and then his dad died right when he was leaving, so he got stuck into this family business, and he basically hates his life. His life is just going to shit. Like
He's married at the time.
he's married, he has
Okay.
kids now.
Yeah.
But anyways, it's really like emotional. It just shows all these times through his life when he was selfless. This is why it's not really a Christmas Carol, because he was very selfless throughout his whole life.
Yeah.
But he just gotten to the point where he's
like getting ready to commit suicide.
pretty much. And he was selfless his whole life. He's always there for other people, to the exclusion of his own wants and needs.
Right.
And it's gotten to the point where it's now crushing him. He feels the weight of all of his failures and all of these various things that have kind of caving in on him, and he's ready to kill himself. So this angel comes down and brings him to go see how things were really and kind of give perspective on everything. Anyways, it's a really well crafted movie.
It's a beautiful film.
It really is.
Very beautiful film.
It's a wonderful film.
And see that I get the season emotions off of those films. I don't cry. I don't know which film. I can't remember.
I'm not sure if I've ever cried during that film. I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying because I don't think I've ever cried in that film. I've never cried on one of my favorite Christmas movies, Christmas Vacation.
Yeah, I've never
cried in that.
Oh,
but
I've never. Let me think. I've never had an emotional response other than like laughter.
Yeah,
or
that
just
movie.
like. Yes, this is exactly what it's
a
like.
great-
There's
yeah.
so many moments when you're with your family that this movie hits on that are like, you have the
You're sitting there with
somebody
your
blows
family
up
and you
or
see
something
it. Yeah.
because shit's going wrong. Or
you
whatever.
couldn't hear. What is it?
You couldn't
what is
hear
that
a dumb
sound?
truck driving through a nitroglycerin plant.
I love that.
It's a little chirping sound. I love it.
Grace? Oh, she passed away 30 years ago.
I just love it, like, squirrel! And the dude, like, he literally knocks his mother over. Chevy Chase throws his mother on the ground, and they run from a squirrel.
And this girl's on his back.
Yeah.
Oh
This
my
girl's
gosh.
on his back.
That movie.
He runs up the stairs.
Why is there water all over the place,
I don't
Margot?
know.
I don't know, Todd. Why is there water all over the place, Todd? I don't know, Margot.
That's so good.
I
Got
love
a lot
that.
of nerve
He goes,
talking to me like that, Griswold.
He says, no, he goes, where are you planning on putting that tree, Griswold? And he goes, bend over and I'll show you. You have a lot of nerve talking to me that way. I wasn't talking to you. He's talking to his wife. Oh, man, that movie.
Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
Yeah.
And that guy, her husband in that film is Nicholas Guest, which is the brother
Oh,
of Christopher
Christopher
Guest,
Guest.
which is the sick-fingered man from Princess Bride, who's married to Jamie Lee Curtis now.
Another great thing about that film is the fact that you can always remember somebody from your own fucking family.
Yeah, I know,
Resembled
right?
in that film.
No.
Yeah, there's Uncle Lou right there.
Yeah, exactly. That movie, she can't see right now, Clark. Her eyes are frozen. That movie, we rewatched that actually last week. That movie holds up.
It
And,
does.
You know, the whole movie is great. John Hughes wrote that. The movie's fantastic. The script is fantastic. The way in which it plays out. But Chevy Chase is like brought his A game comedically to that film. His reactions to everything, like even that scene where he's laying in bed with his wife and he's got the sap on his fingers still from the Christmas tree, and he's trying to read the magazine, and all the pages keep getting stuck to his fingers, and it starts ripping, and finally he gets rid of the magazine, but he kind of plays it off in this dumbfounded look on his face as he continues his conversation with his wife. It's just kind of like this subtle thing. And then he's like, good night, honey. She's listing off things that where he's gotten overexcited for occasions and it never lived up to his expectations. She's just listing them off. And he goes, good night, honey. And he clicks off the light, and then the lamp is still stuck to his hand. And then he hugs. Her hair gets caught in the sap, and then he grabs the lamp, and it's just a fuck fest. Like everything's stuck to his fingers. But what's funny in that scene comedically is that they're still just playing out the scene normally. Like they're still having a normal conversation as this funny shit is visually going on.
Right.
It's like one of those, it's like a...
I feel like the movie does that a lot, where it's
It does.
and it's
That's
if you
a
watch
Chevy
that movie
Chase
again,
thing.
it's like a beat for like almost everything he says is like intended to be humorous.
Yes.
Like if you watch that film, almost every line is intended to
You can hardly
crack
see
a
the
joke or a
line,
smile.
Russ.
Yeah.
You can hardly
It's
see the
almost like
line.
you see the director saying, "Hey, these are the lines. This make it happen."
Which
and
is
then Chevy
interesting.
Chase is like, I got this.
You see a
that's what
lot
he
of
does.
comedies now where
That's
there's
what he
just
was
all
good
this
at, yeah.
space in between the jokes.
Yep.
And like this movie is just one after the other. It's
Yeah.
like boom, boom,
Every-
boom,
every-
boom.
all the dialogue.
He knew how to use his environment, not just the lines, but his environment to, like blocking everything.
Yeah.
He knew how to use everything around him to make it happen, to
Yep.
make the joke happen. It was like,
Yeah.
it wasn't just the joke itself. It wasn't just the line itself. It's just, I don't know, Chevy Chase just, and a lot
yeah.
of those
How
old
about-
comedians just
I mean,
knew
the
how to.
SNL,
Totally.
veteran, yeah.
Oh yeah, improv and all that. I mean, he was
Yeah.
a writer. He was the head writer at SNL. Like he wasn't just he's a guy who knew how to bring more than just a performance.
He
actually
visually saw it.
He was hired as a writer for SNL before he became a performer, and he really wanted to be on camera. So he like actively kind of performed in front of everybody else to show, hey, I got chops beyond just writing. And then they ended up putting him in the cast, and he blew up. He became the first major breakout star of SNL, and he left after 1 year on SNL because he just was like, oh, I'm gonna go pursue a movie career.
Yeah.
Because
I'm
he
doing
just
well.
had this on camera just perfection in his comedic ability. I love that line though in Christmas Vacation: "Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas, kiss my ass, kiss his ass, Happy Hanukkah."
He's just got that subtle spark.
Oh yeah,
That's the thing
Sparky.
about him. He's I don't know. Chevy Chase just had something about him where he always played that role where is this guy that is trying to be a nice guy, but shit just goes wrong for him. And then he just got totally annoyed on everything and just started going,
Oh yeah, he
Merry
always
Christmas and shit.
all the vacation movies, he was always trying to be the good guy.
Yeah.
But everything would go wrong until he lost his shit.
Exactly.
That's what every vacation movie basically. That was how it played out.
Or we just start kicking the lights and shit.
Oh man, we lose his shit.
That's hallelujah.
And his reaction though, like
Yeah.
it's he's like whipping his head around.
And then he starts talking to each one of them like it's the greatest accomplishment, and he's giving like
Yeah,
a speech.
he like
He's like giving a
accomplished the
speech.
greatest thing of his life by like stringing up 40,000.
Oh,
light
but when he was
bulbs or
stringing them
something.
up and stapling them, and he staples his shirt to the gutter,
Oh
and then
my
his
gosh.
glove. But
Yeah.
everything keeps going wrong. And in his face, he's like surprised it happened. I'm like, dude, this shit happens to you all the time.
It's like this great combination of like physical comedy and then just normal,
Yeah.
comedy. It's it's great.
Yeah, you
How-
felt a
great.
true presence.
Can I get you anything, Eddie? Glass of eggnog. Take you out to the middle of nowhere. Leave you for dead. No, I'm all right, Clark. Shitter's full. Eddie was great in that movie. It wasn't just. I mean, it really wasn't just Chevy Chase in that movie.
Yeah, it was definitely
I
an
mean,
ensemble.
Randy Quaid. as
Even
Eddie.
even the grandparents, I thought, brought a lot to that film. Like,
Yeah.
especially
Oh,
towards the end
definitely.
when they're all together.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because it's also how everybody reacted off of him, and and when he started,
It's a
just
puke
breaking
cloud.
out and just started going crazy, like especially his wife. It's just like, why are you like? She's like looking at him, like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And he's like just freaking, and he starts freaking out, and she just like she's sitting there just trying to calm him down, but then she's like also seeing, I don't know, you just see her just react to him and how he like sparks up, and she doesn't know what to do, and then the kids didn't know what to do, and just the whole family started falling apart.
Right.
And everybody, it was just like fucking crazy. I don't even know how to explain it. It just like all worked well together.
It was. How about and the aunt when they wanted her to say grace and she doesn't understand what they're trying to say and he goes grace the blessing and she gets up. I
like she
pledge
says
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America.
And then she has like they wrap the cat.
She wrapped her cat.
The cat's inside the box. Oh, it's great.
Yeah, that was great in the Jello
great.
mold.
In the Jello mold. Yeah.
That was great.
It's an amazing film. It's not a particularly it's not a sad film at all.
It's not.
For-
It's not. I mean, it has its,
It's a
the
very
scene where he's watching
funny-
the old films up in the attic. Where he's watching the old family.
Yeah,
films. That's
there's a little
emotional,
bit,
and he's
yeah.
crying. I mean, there's some emotion in the movie, but it's a beautiful movie. It's a great Christmas movie.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's
But
full of
funny.
like
It represents a common situation that can happen to people's holidays. I think that's
Yeah.
what works. I mean,
Yeah.
shit like that can happen. Like everything that happened in that film, it can happen. You can fucking have a squirrel in your tree, but not
If you
knowing.
chop it down right from outside and just drag it in, yeah.
Exactly, and people do that. I mean,
Yeah.
we get our trees from a chop. They chop it down.
Yeah.
And bring, so I mean, shit can happen, and so that's why I can relate to
Yeah.
it so much.
And
Especially that attic scene, that was really good.
Yeah.
yeah, and it has like 3 generations. So it's like if you're young, you can watch it and you can
Yeah.
like relate to the kids, or if you're in a parent, you can watch it and relate to Chevy Chase and his wife,
Yep.
or Randy
you're
Quaid
Nick.
and his wife. Yeah, or if you're a grandparent, you can watch it and you're like, yeah, that's what it's like when I visit my piece
Right.
of shit
That's very
parents," or
true, yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's awesome.
All right, who's got into the film?
God, there's so many. I mean, there's a film that neither of you have seen that I want to talk about.
Talk
that
about
is
it,
a
then.
very, very emotional film, actually. And I feel like if both of you watched it, you would probably cry.
Have you cried?
Ooh.
So Cry is a very.
When I say cry, I'm
Explain.
like, do you have
Yeah,
tears?
I would get like I've gotten teary-eyed.
Teary-eyed,
in this
okay.
film.
What's the movie?
The Family Stone.
Okay, what's that
it's,
about?
So it's basically this movie that it's this movie about this family, and their last name is Stone.
Oh.
And it's got Sarah Jessica Parker, Dermot Mulroney,
Mulroney.
Claire Danes, Diane Keaton.
Okay.
It's a fantastic cast. It's basically just about these, this family. They live, I guess, up in Maine or something like that, and their kids are coming home for the holidays, and they're older, and they spend Christmas together every year, and it's like this, it's like this drama that has humor, but this movie also will like get crazy real.
Okay.
Like in like the flash of a finger, you're like watching a movie and it's like humorous, and you're like, you can see that, and you're like, oh, this is funny. And then like shit'll just hit the fan and it'll get like super serious, like,
right,
instantaneously. And it has this like weird jarring tone like that, kind of not throughout the movie, but there's several moments of the film that just get really serious very fast, and you're like, fuck, like what just happened? But it's like serious in like a realistic way. Like it doesn't feel like a Hollywood trope type way. I mean, I'm trying to talk about it without spoiling anything about it because neither you guys have seen it. But it's a really good movie. I feel like it came out and then just kind of came and went.
90s or what?
No, it came out 2005. Christmas time 2005.
I feel like I've heard the title.
It has a little bit of like rom-com elements to it. But it's more of a Christmas film, I think.
Right.
Sarah Jessica Parker and I think Dermot Mulroney. They have like a thing. And then Luke Wilson's in it, and he has a thing with. Anyway, and then there's all this stuff that happens between like all these family members that are there, and then people that are brought in who are not family.
Okay, but it's a good movie then.
It's a great movie, and there's this overarching other thing that's I'm talking in like all these mysteries. Like nobody knows what I'm talking about unless they've seen it. There's this overarching thing that's going on top of all these other little dramas that are happening within the family. That's like a worse thing that nobody knows about, and that's kind of like this big secret.
Has cancer.
Well, I'm not gonna say yes,
but the wave of the arm might give something away there.
Okay,
but yeah, it's a really good movie.
Really, I gotta check that out. Then I've never even. I mean, like I said, I maybe heard the title, but I didn't even. Is it one of these films you feel like I'm surprised it's not a classic or brought up more often?
If you go online and look at reviews or like user reviews, like people love this movie. It almost has like a maybe it came
cult
out,
following.
didn't do well, but it has this cult following.
What?
Like people love it.
I probably skipped it because I was never a big fan of Sarah Jessica Parker.
I also have never been a big fan of Sarah Jessica Parker. But in this movie, she's like horrible for the first half, and then you like her for the last half.
Hey man, I'll be honest, I was a fan of Sex and the City. That is actually a very
that's an incredible show. That's an incredible show.
That show was like smart as a whip. Like there was just such great dialogue in that show. It also took place in New York, which I always have some sort of affinity for movies or shows in New York. But I thought that was a great show. But speaking, it's funny.
Your clothes resembles it. I'm just kidding. Did that land?
No, it didn't land at all.
Damn it.
Well, I mean, it landed just like in the middle of the sea where nobody was watching.
Oh, Rachel McAdams is in it too.
Oh, Rachel! I love Rachel McAdams.
Yeah, it's like a huge cast, and then Craig T. Nelson's in it.
Oh shit!
Yeah, it's like you recognize everyone in this film.
Is he like the dad?
He's the dad. Yeah,
of course.
I'll tell you what, Neil.
It's a really good film.
Okay,
I will try it,
and you will
get through my list.
You will cry.
Right. Okay.
Or at least get teary-eyed.
All right. I'm gonna watch that. I'm looking. I love finding new films that I feel can
and it's
match
100% Christmas. Yeah.
Okay, good. I love new Christmas films that can match what I've already seen because I have like kind of like a repertoire. Like I have a certain arsenal of films. Those are the ones I watch every year for Christmas, and it's hard to put something else in there. But every now and then we can come across one. Like I'm sure that one sounds like it could be really good.
It's interesting. It's like Christmas Vacation, except it's like
everybody comes to the house.
1% funny,
99% drama.
There's humor. There is definitely humor, and there's definitely like just general drama that's not particularly sad or happy. It's just kind of like interesting. But then there's like definitely very, very sad moments.
Right.
So it's like it's like the opposite of Christmas Vacation.
You know what I'm noticing here?
It's very similar.
It's like
it's family.
You're setting up a 2-hour success or failure for Nick's Christmas.
Oh yeah,
I'm just saying
you should watch it, and then we'll talk about it briefly on the next episode, just so people can find out what you think.
Okay.
And you should also watch it. It's super hard to find. Like I feel like you have to buy it on Amazon. Like I haven't been able to find it streaming. Maybe they do have it. You can rent it.
Let me see.
What's the name of it, just in case?
The Family Stone.
The Family Stone.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of movies that kind of went under the radar, that are Christmas movies, one of my favorites is a movie called Trapped in Paradise.
Ha! Nicolas Cage.
Yes.
Yeah.
I finally got you to see that last year or something, right?
It was like 2 or 3 years ago we watched it.
That was in New York also, wasn't it?
Part of it is. Yeah,
Yeah.
part of it is. That movie, I love that movie. First off, it's classic Nicolas Cage.
It's young Nicolas Cage.
Young.
It's like
It came out like
Raising Arizona
94,
Nicolas Cage.
A little later. It came out like 94, 95. It's pre-The Rock even.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a younger Nicolas Cage. It's also Dana Carvey and John Lovitz.
Yeah.
They both, SNL alums. They both play his brothers. And they're convicts getting out of prison.
Yeah.
And he's kind of a straight-laced guy, but he's got this inclination or this desire for money.
Right.
But he's not a criminal like them. But they basically get together and decide to rob this bank in this little town called Paradise.
Yeah.
The town is called Paradise, and they go in there during the Christmas season. It's like a day or two before Christmas, and they're going to rob this bank, which is supposed to have all this money and have this lax security in this little Mayberry-type town. And what happens is they go to rob the bank. They get the money, they rob it, they're heading out of town, but the snow gets like completely crazy and they get driven off the road, and they ended up getting picked up by this guy who brings them back to his house, and he brings them back to Paradise. They've already made it out of the town. They wreck their car. He picks them up. He's driving them through the storm, and they end up back in Paradise, and they end up at the house. He brings them to his family's house, and his dad is the owner of the bank. And they end up having to stay with them, and it's like, oh, fucking shit.
And who is like the love interest? I forget.
That's Imagine a Mick. I think that's how you pronounce her name. Imagine a Mick. She plays a girl named Sarah. Anyway,
I feel like she looked familiar, like I'd seen her in other films.
she's definitely been in other things, and she's actually still very active today. I can't really name anything right now, but gorgeous in the film. But it's a really interesting because they start to bond with these guys.
Yeah.
Right? They start to see that these are really good people and they've robbed them and stole from them, but they're trying to get out of there before their conscience really gets to them. And I mean, you got two career criminals, Dana Carvey, John Lovitz, that are like kleptomaniacs, steal, rob everything. They just got out of jail and they're already robbing a bank again. Like, this is what they do.
Yeah.
And, but they're starting to really kind of like have a change of mind. Even the ones that are career criminals. And I mean, there's a whole other plot, which is like the guys who told them about this bank inside the joint have broken out because they heard that they robbed it before they got to rob it. So now they're coming after them. They broke out of prison to get there. It's a whole fucking crazy thing. The FBI is coming in to investigate this bank robbery, and they're like 3 suspects and these 3 out-of-towners that... so anyways, it's a great movie. It's hilarious. Yeah. Dana Carvey and John Lovitz are at like their best in this film. Nicolas Cage has some great freak out moments, because he can't stand his idiot brothers. So they're like driving, and Dana Carvey, who's like kind of on the autism scale, or on the spectrum, let's be honest, like the way he acts throughout the movie, he's really out of it. He's giving him directions to the car, and he goes, I swear, if we're going in circles, I'm going to be pissed. I swear I've seen that barn before. And he goes, no, just take 4 lefts. Look, I'm looking at the map. It says 4 lefts. He goes, 4 lefts? It's a circle. He's like, are you sure? Are you sure? Anyways.
Yeah, it's one of these like I had never even heard of it until you brought it up to me. But it's like it's one of these like 80s or 90s, early 90s films that kind of came out and I think kind of probably came under the radar. And, it's really good. It is very It definitely has like the Christmas, like flow to the whole film, and then and it just has a lot of humor.
And it's
John
in like
Lovitz, Dana Carvey.
Yeah, and they're in like your idyllic Norman Rockwell town, Paradise. So it's sort of like it's very Christmassy.
And this is like when Nicolas Cage still had that, like, would have those explosive reactions to things.
Which is
like
great.
His idea of acting was just like be calm, completely calm one moment and just explosive the next at the time. So it was like there was no real in between.
Which is great if you love to look at memes or gifs of Nicolas Cage losing his shit. Yeah. This movie is great for that. I mean, you were just cracking up the whole time. It's like Nicolas Cage is ready to lose his shit.
Oh, yeah. I love it. I love Nicolas Cage.
I'm thinking that there's money in the trunk. Like, he's just like, okay, Nick.
It was almost like the directors are just like, do what you want to do.
Yeah,
just do it. I'm not even going to direct you. Like, you got it. But it would just like explode.
Yes.
It's like fits of rage.
Talking about Nicolas Cage.
Yeah.
One of the films that I potentially could have cried and gotten emotional on was
Don't say it.
Moonstruck?
No.
Moonstruck?
Family Man.
Family Man.
Which is
love that
Christmas.
movie.
Family
Okay,
Man.
we're still.
I was
That
just
was a great
thinking about
segue.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is an. I completely forgot about that. But that is like
Family Man,
Leone,
yeah.
that's a tearjerker.
And
Yeah.
that's got that element of It's a Wonderful Life, Christmas Carol in a way. I mean, he relives. He basically
He goes back to
It's
a
a
moment
Christmas- yeah,
where
it's-
his life could have completely
Yeah, his
changed
li-
and
his-
gone in a different direction.
Yeah, he basically
Yeah.
relives his life as if he
alternate
had
version,
stayed with
yeah.
this woman who he had basically
What's his name?
broken up with.
T. Leone, yeah.
Tia
No,
Leone,
not
yeah.
Tia Leone. I'm talking about the guy that played, who was basically the angel.
Oh, Don Cheadle, wasn't it?
I think
Was it Don Cheadle? I feel like that was Don Cheadle in that movie.
he was in.
Yeah, it was because he goes to rob the store.
Evolution. He was in Evolution.
Was Luke?
Oh, Orlando Bloom?
It was Orlando Bloom, right?
Was it Orlando Bloom?
No, look it up. I thought it was Don Cheadle in that movie. He like robs a store at one point.
Let's see.
I'm pretty sure it was Don Cheadle. Anyways, yeah, that was a great movie. It's interesting because he becomes a successful businessman who really doesn't have any real connections and doesn't celebrate. I don't think he celebrates Christmas or whatever. And then he ends up.
Yeah, Don Cheadle plays Cash.
Yeah, it's Don Cheadle. Yeah, and he ends up going back and reliving his life as if he had stayed with that woman, and now he's got a family with her and everything. But he still himself doesn't know why he's in this situation, why he's reliving himself. He still has all the memories of this other life that he lived.
Right.
But now he's starting to learn lessons. You know, it's definitely that kind of movie. It's got those normal tropes or whatever, but it's a great film. That's a really, I think that's a great film.
Yeah, I'd never heard of it, and then randomly, I think it was, well, I mean, it's like years ago, but randomly it was like on TV or something like that. And
Yeah.
I think I caught like the last 3/4 of it or something.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the hell did
What
I
the hell
just
is
watch?
this?
Like, how have I never even heard of this movie? It just
Yeah.
kind of came out and was in theaters maybe like for a short while and then
Yeah.
disappeared. And
Yeah, I found it a couple years ago too. I completely missed it as well. I don't
Yeah.
know what. Like, I'm like, all right.
You know, it's odd. Like, I feel like unless a Christmas movie has like a huge marketing campaign behind it, they kind of come and go. Like, I mean, I remember when like Polar Express came out.
So do I.
You know, I remember when
Christmas Carol.
Christmas Carol came out, but those were like big budget.
Yeah.
You know, kind of like took years to make type films, so they just really promoted the hell out.
Yeah.
of it.
Yeah, I remember when Trapped in Paradise came out.
Oh yeah.
Saw it in theaters.
Oh. I mean, I remember when Home Alone came out.
Yeah,
Like,
okay.
You know, that was one, and Home Alone 2, obviously,
Yeah,
it's like, you know.
Yeah, some of the if they're big, you know, they come. Usually, if they're big,
Yeah.
you know, have a big marketing campaign like you said behind them, you kind of remember them. But yeah, Family Man kind of came and went. Somehow I missed that one.
Yeah.
But
There's
that was a
some
great one.
Really
Yeah.
good films, yeah. That it kind of.
But that was a really
under the radar.
great, what would happen type of film. So, and he was
Yeah.
a tire salesman, right?
I,
Was-
yeah,
He
I
was a
think.
tire salesman.
Well, yeah,
Oh, yeah,
he
he was.
originally was like an accountant or something, and then he became when he did the alternate path. That's what he
Yes.
was, right, or something
Yes,
like that. Like, he was
exactly.
a super rich guy
That's
living
right.
in
He
some
was- yes.
pad, bachelor
Yeah.
life and all
Yeah.
that, and then he wakes up and he's like got kids and he's
running. I think it was her like Tia Leone's dad's tire shop or something.
Yeah.
And that's where he's working.
And he's like, I remember this.
Yeah.
This is crazy.
Yeah.
And she's like, they're like, are you crazy? Like, what are you talking about? We're married. We got kids. And I'm
Right.
like, huh?
Yeah, that was a good one. That was a good one.
You would think that'd be a nightmare for a bachelor to wake up and then
Yeah.
wake up and he's married with kids.
Yeah, you know, there was a recent movie, Collateral Beauty, that
Oh,
came
wow.
out with
Yeah.
Will
Yeah,
Smith.
yeah.
That movie and
Helen Mirren.
Yeah, that kind of came and went as well. It didn't get great reviews, but it was
It wasn't
surprisingly.
bad. I saw it.
It was fucking great. Like as a father, honestly, as a father with a kid, I mean,
I'll give
it's
you
a
that.
heart wrenching movie. It's Will Smith plays, this guy, successful marketing guy, with his group of friends, played by Edward Norton, Kate Winslet, and Michael Pena, and they're all
Yeah,
kinda
it has a really
firm.
great cast.
Yeah, and he basically loses his daughter at 4 years old and loses his mind. Basically, like he's completely depressed. Like he's just everything crashes around him, and
And he writes a letter.
and he basically starts writing these letters to death and to time and love or whatever, and just
Yeah,
these
those
these
three.
concepts, and drops them in the mailbox, and those human representations of those things, time, love, death, basically come to him, and he has conversations with
his
his
head?
Nope.
And he's like,
I'm not crazy. Nope.
Nope. He's like, and she goes, hi, I'm death. He goes, nope. And he gets up and
Mm,
walks away. But he plays, I thought he had delivered a beautiful performance in that movie. And I'll tell you, as a father with a daughter, I felt that more than I probably ever would have without one, honestly. Like
Yeah.
that loss, I couldn't even imagine, like that would rip me apart. Like I would not be able to function. And that's how he played that film. You could tell, I mean, this guy, Will Smith, has a daughter, has a son or whatever.
It
And he just
wasn't-
brought something to that film, a heaviness and
It wasn't the acting that was bad. It was just, I think, to me, how the story was told. It was you were trying to make it like it was real and these were real people, and then you're trying to make it. I don't want to spoil it, so I'm
Yeah,
not gonna
you have
give
to
which
watch
one.
it to see what
you're
that-
trying to make it like there were angels and stuff, and it just the confusion in that didn't land very well.
I did watch it. But I think I came in like same thing. Like it was a weird thing where I came in and it was on TV. And it was
Oh,
like
you gotta watch it
3/4
earlier,
started, so
yeah.
I missed the beginning. I was extremely confused by the end of that.
Yeah,
film.
you got to watch
Yeah.
it from the beginning.
So
yeah,
I'm like, clearly I missed something because I didn't understand what was real and what wasn't.
Yeah.
And I thought I need to watch this again.
Yeah, you do
because
have to watch it from the beginning. I thought it was fantastic. It does take place around Christmas time. It is Christmas related. That's why I brought it up. But again, I just think as a father, it really like connected.
Maybe that's why I
Yeah.
didn't. But I connected with the ending.
Yes.
I understood that. I was like, wow, this is a great ending. But I feel like the ending didn't hit because of the
Yeah.
first 3/4
Yeah,
of the
my favorite parts, my favorite elements of that film are Will Smith, like just following his character,
Yeah.
what's going on. I mean, he literally just loses his purpose and ambition for anything and everything.
Yeah.
And just he tries to go to meetings and tries to get support, and he tries to, but it's just not. He can't break out of it, and it's so fucking emotional. And I went to a sneak peek of it, like some sort of early showing of it. In theaters, and
Yeah.
I fucking totally cried during that movie. Like I had like tears going down my cheeks. It was hard, like that.
Yeah, I think you have that.
Yeah, and that's
daughter
and I
connection,
brought this
yeah.
up before. That's a new thing for me. Like just now as a parent, things like that in films definitely land. I connect more with them when I see something with a father and his kid. Like that's more real to me than it ever has been before.
Yeah.
Right.
Anyways, I thought that was a great film.
Yeah.
You know what I just recently watched on Netflix? It was like only an hour and 12 minutes or something like that. It was very short. It was El Camino Christmas.
Oh yeah, I
you
did
seen
see
that? I've
that.
heard of that. I
I
didn't
see that
see
on
it.
there, but I haven't watched it yet.
Never saw it.
Yeah,
It's
it's got
it's-
what's
it's-
his name? Chris Kringle.
Chris Kringle. Yeah, it's got
Tim Allen.
Chris Kringle. Tim Allen.
Tim,
yeah. I saw
yeah,
it.
Tim Allen. Yeah, Tim
I
Allen.
accidentally
It
pressed
was
play.
actually-
I actually accidentally pressed play on it the other day. I didn't mean
And
to. but I did.
Red.
And I think I watched
Red
that
from
because
that '70s show.
Yeah,
I forget what his name is. The actor.
Oh,
the guy who plays Red, the dad.
Oh, the guy. No, he doesn't look like Michael Ironside, but he's the main bad guy from RoboCop. One of the main bad guys from RoboCop.
there's a lot
the
of
guy
people.
shoots him up.
There's
Yeah,
a
yeah.
lot of people in that film
Yeah.
that you look at. I was like, oh my gosh, yeah. There's the guy from Law and Order. What's his name?
Benson's partner.
He was in Full Metal Jacket.
Vincent D'Onofrio.
Yeah,
Yeah, Vincent
Oh.
D'Onofrio.
He's in there.
great.
Who else?
Oh, this is a total aside.
Jessica Alba's in there. Tim
Oh, yeah,
Allen,
I
Dax Shepard.
Oh, Dax Shepard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was.
A total aside because you mentioned Vincent D'Onofrio, but I just watched Adventures in Babysitting.
Oh,
and I
yeah,
completely
he's
forgot
Thor.
he's in that. He
He's
plays
Thor.
but he's
Yeah,
kind
he's
of a piece
Thor.
of shit in the
He's
beginning.
not really Thor.
And then the little girl like just won't give up on this
mechanic.
guy.
He's the
Yeah,
auto
the mechanic. He's
yeah.
like,
Yeah.
you don't got an extra $1. I'm not giving you your car. Get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, Thor's a piece of shit.
I
And I
know.
completely forgot about.
I
this
did
thing, by the
not.
way.
Yeah, I did not remember that was Vincent D'Onofrio until recently.
He's
my,
so
my
young in
sister,
it. He
my
looks like
sister
he's
was
like
like
10
she was
years
like,
old.
Because he
D'Onofrio.
looks. He really does look
Yeah.
different.
Skinny,
Yeah.
he's skinny.
super thin,
Yeah, he's
and he's
thin.
like 8 feet tall or
Yeah.
some shit. Yeah.
He's a tall guy.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah.
Yeah, no,
El Camino.
but he's a shitbag in this one.
Oh, so he's like Kingpin.
He's a
basically?
cop. So
Yeah.
the whole premise of this film is that this guy comes into town. This kid comes into town trying to find his dad because he found this letter, and he's trying to find his father. And so then he arrests him, shitbag Thor, or arrests him because he's a cop.
Yeah.
For no reason. And the guy's trying to figure out why, but the other cop lets him loose, and it's hilarious because he's like, okay, I'm leaving your keys here. I'm going to be in the bathroom. Let me say it again. I'm leaving your keys here, and I'm going to be in the bathroom over there, probably for a long time.
Yeah.
And so he lets him out because he like gets beat up in jail and stuff. But the whole scenario of that film is in a store where the cops are outside and they're inside, and he's getting blamed for taking people hostage. He didn't do it, like this whole situation,
Like a
because
JCVD
Yeah,
kind of
it was
scenario.
because like he fucking the cop called it in, and he's trying to like saying like there's a hostage, cop down, whatever. He's building this thing up so he doesn't get blamed because he's a drunk,
Right.
And so, but it's It's a quick, an hour and a half, no, hour and 12 minutes.
And it's Christmas.
And it's a Christmas film.
Yeah.
And it was pretty good. I thought it was
decent.
cute. It was decent. I thought it was decent. Cops
like
shooting
these-
at each other because one's behind the store, one's in front of the store. They think the shootout's coming from inside the store, and they're shooting at each other. He goes, "Man down! Did you just say man down?"
But they're shooting at each other.
But they're shooting at. It's crazy. So I recommend that.
Yeah.
I recommend just
Check it out.
Check it out. So.
Netflix, right?
Yeah,
It's a Netflix movie.
It's a
isn't
Netflix
it?
film.
Yeah, it's a Netflix
Yeah.
film.
I don't think we mentioned this on any of the other podcasts, or maybe we did. But Love Actually is one of those.
We talked about it very
we did,
briefly.
yeah.
Yeah.
Did we?
We
Yeah.
didn't actually talk about it as like we just talked about it in passing. But yeah, Love Actually would be on our list. Absolutely.
Yes, it's one of those movies. I think it like blew up. It was like a huge hit at the time, and it's kind of become a staple for a lot of people.
Yeah.
For to watch every year. It's a fantastic film.
It
It's
really is.
incredible ensemble cast.
Definitely.
one
And
of Alan Rickman's last films.
Yeah, well, not one of his last films, 2003, but yeah, definitely one of his more recent
you're right,
films.
yeah.
Yeah, it
God.
came before like almost every Harry Potter movie.
Very, very
There's
different.
like two of them. Yeah,
Yeah.
Was it that old?
It's 2003. Isn't that crazy?
God, he
14
looks
years
so
ago.
old in that. Maybe they made
He
him
does.
look older.
As Snape, he looks younger, quote unquote, because he has the black hair and all
Yeah,
that.
that's what it
Yeah, he's got
is,
the
yeah.
glasses and the kind of whitish hair in Love Actually. But Love Actually is a great movie, and there are. I mean, if you watch that from a cinematic viewpoint and like a filming view, I mean, and even a story, like there are tropes in that. There are like kind of like there are some whatever things in that movie where even the political things with the president and the prime minister, they're always generalizing their speech because they're like, we don't feel like getting into specifics on this or having to figure out what they would actually be talking about. So everything they talk about in those scenes are very generalized.
Yeah.
Like almost like, oh, we don't really want to, they didn't really go through, they didn't want to be specific about what the policy points they were talking about in any of those scenes.
Yeah.
So, but the movie works. Like the ensemble cast, every storyline works. It doesn't feel like there's any fat that needs to be cut off this film. I felt like it
so
was
action packed with Liam Neeson.
yeah,
No, I'm
Liam
just joking.
Neeson's. No, but I loved it. I mean, the scene with the kid running through the airport at the end, to tell that girl that he loves
The
her.
music is fantastic too. Like,
yeah.
the score in general.
Oh, the score when he's running through the airport like that.
I just like the thing with oh God, what is his name?
Colin Firth.
Colin Firth,
Yes.
where he goes after the maid or whatever, and it's like there's just this whole miscommunication
Yes.
the whole time, and like she can't tell him that
She
he
speaks
can't
Portuguese and he speaks
Yeah.
English and he can't fucking
That
speak
to me was the
Portuguese.
best, and it was humorous and endearing at the same
And
time.
at the end,
which is the
when he
best.
goes there and he learned Portuguese just so he
and
can speak
he's
to
like,
her, and then
he's blundering it. He's just like, yeah.
Oh, Rowan Atkins was in that film.
Rowan Atkinson, Mr.
Oh,
Bean. He was
So
in
is
that.
Bilbo Baggins.
So Martin Freeman.
yeah, Martin
so
Freeman,
many people
yeah.
in that movie. But that's it with Jamie, Colin Firth, and that girl, and he learns Portuguese, and
yeah.
then he goes his whole speech about asking for her hands in marriage,
Yeah.
and then she goes, "See, yes is the answer."
Yeah,
And,
and
he goes,
she learned English.
Yeah, and he goes,
Yeah.
"You learned English." She goes, "Just in cases." I love that, like that whole play out, and with the whole fucking town is coming behind him,
Yeah.
to the thing, and he's
They're all
like,
just following him down, and they're like, "Hey, this guy
Yeah.
wants to kidnap my sister," or something.
And he
like that.
goes-
It's all miscommunicated.
yeah, to
or
the other
whatever.
sister, the other fat sister, they think that he's like gonna ask her out, and then anyways, and
Yeah.
and she's talking to the dad. He goes, "Shut up, Miss Dunkin' Donuts 2003." Anyways, that whole movie, just Bill Nye, that the British rocker guy, and
Yeah,
his whole
yeah.
thing with his manager, and he was at this party and throughout, and he comes back just to hang out with his manager, which is his oldest friend, and
Yeah.
there's so much great shit in that movie.
There was a lot
Liam
in that
Neeson
film.
staying with his wife having died, and now he's got his stepson who has to take care of, and his stepson's obviously upset about his mom, but he also is in love with this girl at school.
I think I didn't even watch that movie until after his actual wife died in that freak accident or something.
Not Natasha Richardson or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah. And then when so it was like this weird thing because I'm like watching this movie and seeing him play this character, but then I knew it happened in real life, and I was like, this is weird.
Oh, that's sad. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that movie, I mean, it's all Christmas. It's all leading up to Christmas. Alan
and
Alan
the story's
Rickman's
like
story.
intertwined, and so
Yeah.
you don't even find out like how people connect on some of them until like the end.
Yes.
like what their actual relationships are.
Yep.
And everybody loves the how the British view the American women.
Yeah.
when the
Is that
British
all the
guy
Colin-
comes to America, and
Colin-
it's like, what was it, Elizabeth?
Watch out, America!
Who
Here
are the
comes Colin,
ladies?
and he's got a big knob. Yeah, it was Alicia
like-
Cuthbert.
Alicia
It was
Cuthbert.
that
Shannon
girl.
Elizabeth.
Shannon Elizabeth. It was
the
Denise
chick from
Richards at
Mad
the end.
Men. I forget what her name is. She played she's in one of the X-Men films.
Keira Knightley.
Oh no, January Jones. Yeah, January Jones,
and
the other girl I know
is
who
a model
she
or
is.
something.
Yeah, I've seen her. She's in
actress.
She's in that show Banshee.
It was just
I think.
so
Martine?
ridiculous.
What's her name?
It was so
Martine McConaughey?
ridiculous.
It's
And
like,
they were like,
it's an Ivana. It's like a Russian name. She was in Banshee.
it was like
I'm
the
reading
most
off the
ridiculous false exaggeration.
Yes, it was. Like he goes there and he meets these 3 women who are in love with him, and they bring him back to their house. Where
Yeah,
they have one
you're like,
bed
oh,
and
we
they have to
only
sleep
have
naked,
one
and we have no pajamas, so we have to sleep naked.
But that's what I
And
love.
we didn't
they're
even
like
tell him
British,
about Colleen.
Yeah,
she's
insane.
the pretty one.
Right.
Anyways, that is a
It's
great.
very funny,
It
yeah.
is, and I love the Hugh Grant. I love that scene. You know, the
Oh,
prime
he's,
minister
like,
when he plays the
dancing?
prime minister. Well, the dancing scene's
That's
funny to
funny.
that Pointer Sister song. Jump, oh my love, jump in. No,
Yeah.
but the girl that he's falling for, which is
Where he
like
goes
she's-
to like every house in the row.
yes,
The dodgy side of whatever.
the dodgy side of
East London or
whatever.
something.
Yeah, south, whatever. But she, that whole interaction with her and how they're flirting with each other. I just love. I don't know. Every scene in that movie just it reminds you of young love, old
Yeah.
love, like
Yeah.
friendship, and just all of these
has
elements
everything.
are
It has a
everything
lot,
in this
yeah.
one film, and it's all revolves around Christmas as well.
There was a lot of
Yeah.
storylines. That's what made it good. It was just very full film.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I like that.
I didn't quite. I always feel like unsatisfied by Alan Rickman and
That's the one that doesn't really
That story.
end nicely. Yeah, well, that's the idea is that he was being unfaithful to a degree, even emotionally, even if he never went full on. Who knows if
Right.
he did? You don't actually know. Maybe he did, and it never fully rights itself.
No.
And that's
Even at the end, it was
when he
almost
meets her
like
at the
you-
airport. She
you were
goes,
like, are
"Hi."
they
He goes, "How you doing?" She
separated?
goes, "I'm fine." And you get this idea that's still kind of like.
It's a thing, yeah.
Because before that, they were like so friendly with each other. They were like so close. You could tell they were so familiar with each other. And he was her rock and she was his. And
Yeah.
then he violated that. And he never really took responsibility for it and never
Yeah.
righted it. And she's still feeling like, can I trust this guy
Yeah.
ever again? Like, this was my best friend and he violated me so deeply. And they never really write that. And that was kind of the message of that story. It's the only
Yeah.
one that really ends that way.
yeah, all the other
Everything
ones
else is
seem
like
to
a
end
nice
like
bow.
happily, yeah, like
like
perfectly, and then that one you're just kind of like, oh, I don't know.
It was kind of the
how
point.
feel
I
about
think.
this.
I think that was
Yeah.
kind of the point, which I liked. Again, it wasn't just trying to make it like just some like happy ending for everybody.
I wonder if there's like a story behind that, like on the set or something. Like if somehow they wanted to change that one aspect of it, so they all didn't
Oh,
end on a
maybe.
happy note.
There's a
Because
lot
it's
of-
odd to have that
if you-
one thing and that
Yeah.
way.
I
think
and
it makes
everything
sense.
else
if you
wraps
watch
up.
the deleted
It
scenes,
just breaks it up.
Yeah.
I think I liked it.
in the DVD, if you watch the deleted scenes, there were actually other storylines. There was a thing with the school where the headmaster of the school had a lesbian. She was like an older woman, like in her 60s or 70s, and she goes home and has like a wife, like she's a lesbian and has a dying wife at home. There's a whole storyline they completely
wow.
cut
They
out of
just-
the movie. It's in the deleted scenes though. There's like a bunch of additional things.
Oh, wow.
But obviously
Oh.
there's so
I
many
mean, the movie's
storylines
like
in the movie.
It's pretty long.
Yeah, so they obviously
I feel like
had to
it's
cut
over
some
2
things
hours,
out.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Anyways, that's a great one. I love that movie.
We are like
But-
I do want to make a quick mention because I know we're getting short on time.
Yeah.
I know, but I feel like we didn't talk about that many films. I'm kind of like
No, we didn't. We
odds
talked
right
about
now.
a good amount. But
Yeah.
what were you? We do have to
Go
talk
ahead.
about one more that I know that we have to talk about before we're done. But go ahead.
I'll let you talk about that one. Okay. I just wanted to mention this animated short that
Yes.
came out called
Charlie Brown?
Snowman.
Oh, sorry, I was off.
Yeah, let me.
Yeah, you had me watch this a couple years ago.
Yeah, it's a short film. It's only like 30 minutes long, and it's just a fantastic little. There's no dialogue in the film. It came out in the 80s, I want to say. When it
Yeah,
came out,
early
like
80s, I
82
think.
or something
Yeah.
like that.
It's called The Snowman.
I don't even know if
It's called The Snowman.
Yeah.
And it's a British animated thing. I mean, you don't know that it's British because it's there's no dialogue in it, but it's classically drawn. Like it's a very aesthetic. It doesn't have this kind of new school animated look to it. It's very much looks like if you were to look at a classic children's book.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
It's drawn in that style.
Yeah.
And it's this boy who wakes up and he builds a snowman.
Yeah. It was based on this kids book by this author Raymond Briggs, and the book came out like 1978, and then they made this 20. It's like only 27 minutes long. It's a short animated film. Everything was like hand animated, and it ended up winning a bunch of awards. It got nominated for an Academy Award for Best Short in 1982, and they played it on TV, and it just became this huge hit. And it was kind of like a random thing, but when you watch it, it's this kind of like this kid wakes up, builds a snowman. He goes to sleep. There's snow outside. He freaks out. He's a single child. The whole thing is just like this music. The kind of music plays in tune or like in sync with the actions of like the animated characters. And he builds a snowman and then goes to sleep. In the middle of the night, snowman wakes up and comes to life.
Yeah.
And he starts to like do things with the snowman. The snowman comes in the house. He's like interacting with things. He's interacting with like the environment and like whatever. And then they kind of like, they end up going on a ride on a motorcycle and driving through the woods, and the music is just really, really this really amazing score. And then at some point, I mean, that's not really a spoiler, I guess, but like at some point, the snowman got kind of like you get this impression he's being called somewhere, and you don't really know why. And he ends up like there's this crazy scene where they just start running, and he's holding the kid's hand, and then he like takes off, and then they just start flying. Like, the snowman can fucking fly. And so him and this kid and the snowman are like flying, and you don't know where they're going. And there's this great song that they're playing where it's the only time where there's actual like talking. Is during the song, and they end up landing at the North Pole. Yeah. And there's all these other snowmen from all around the world that other children had made, that came, and they all flew to North Pole to have this big ass party with Santa Claus or whatever. And you're like, what? This is crazy.
This came out like 4
They're
years.
like drinking, like booze and shit. Like, aren't they? I feel like they're totally.
It seemed like it,
booze.
right? It's British.
It does seem like
British.
it, yeah.
British.
Yeah, they're British.
It's from the 80s. Diego. Yeah, it came out in the early 80s.
It sounds. I feel like I've watched it, but
It may have been on PBS or TV. Or it seems like something that would show up on PBS.
Yeah, it's definitely something would air on like PBS or something.
Or ABC
but
or something like that,
it's one of these weird things that they just aired when it came out in '82. It was like a staple. They just show it on BBC like every year, and then I don't know. I think I did end up seeing it on PBS when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Anyway, and I loved it, and they end up coming back after he meets Santa and the little boy, and then he comes back. And then, snowman, they like part, and he goes back, and he like, becomes a snowman again. He's just, I don't know if I want to go full on.
Let's go. Let's go. Go ahead.
It's one of these movies that catches you off guard because you don't think it's going to be emotional. Even because there's like no dialogue. It's just music. Synced up with like this, the animation that's happening on screen. But like the kid goes inside. He's just had this amazing night with this cool snowman that he's like, become friends with. And you have this whole experience, a short experience.
Yeah.
Kid goes in the house, goes to sleep, wakes up the next morning, and instead of like coming downstairs and running to the Christmas tree or something to check his presents because it's Christmas morning, he runs outside to see his buddy or whatever, and the sun's kind of like glaring in his face, and he's like that he can't quite see, and the way they like animate it's really good.
Yeah.
And then he runs over to the snowman, and it's just like this mound on the ground, and it's like completely melted, like the snowman.
Yeah. Melted.
Dead.
Yeah.
And then it just ends, and you're like. And the kid's just sitting there like sad that the snowman melted. And you're like, and it just ends on this like kind of like, downer. I don't say it's dark, but it's like, it's a downer, but it's also like.
Real.
Yeah.
That's
like
what
snow
happens.
melts.
Yeah. Snow melts and you have fun. You have fun in the moment.
I feel like Neil's telling this story. Like when he watched that, he built a snowman. And tried to fly away with him.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
he absolutely did. And then he cried when it melted. I mean, that's what happens, though.
I was only a year old, though, when this came out.
Yes.
So.
But that's what happens is snow melts, and it's sort of like live for the moment. Like be in that moment and enjoy that moment because it doesn't necessarily last. But it doesn't make the moment any less special.
Right.
Yeah.
And that was kind of like the whole takeaway from the film is like, you know, it's like that. Yeah. Be in the moment, like live in the now, and enjoy these moments that you have.
Exactly. Yeah. And but before we leave, we have to talk about my favorite Christmas movie of all time. But it may also be yours. Is it yours, Neil? Maybe, right?
It's definitely in like my top 3.
Right. I'm going to tell you, it's my favorite. It's Scrooged
with Bill Murray.
Bill Murray.
Yeah. I mean, Karen Allen's in this movie.
Yeah,
all of Bill
Allen's
Murray's
fantastic.
brothers show up in this movie at various times.
Yeah.
Every single one of them, actually.
Which I actually love. And like even the one that's not even an actor.
Yeah.
I feel like one of them wasn't even an actor, and he's in the goddamn movie.
I know Frank and Joel and Brian Doyle, like they're all in the fucking movie, and which is great. And, like there's something about it, kind of like
it makes it feel like a family.
Yeah,
affair,
like I don't think that's happened in any other Bill Murray movie, but this one was special enough that it was like, hey, make sure his family, his actual brother in the movie is played by his actual brother in real life.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good though.
It's so good.
It's so good. It's a take on. It's called Scrooged.
Take
like
on a
Scrooge
Christmas-
with Ed at the end with a D at the end, and it's just like it's a take on A Christmas Carol. He's the movie's from 1988. He plays a TV executive for a made-up network channel called IBC.
Yeah.
And he's putting on this live Christmas Carol, which is something they do now on NBC. They do like these plays or these live renditions of shows,
Which is cool. I think
cool,
it's
yeah.
like a pastime that had kind of fallen out, it seems like, over the years, but it was very popular.
It was, and
back
so
in,
they
like,
were
the
doing that.
50s and 60s.
But the whole point of it was that he's putting on this Christmas Carol show on IBC on Christmas Eve, and a lot of people are like, "Really, you're doing that on Christmas?" Like the idea that he's actually having people at home watching their TV, and then he's employing all these crew and these actors and everything on Christmas Eve, so they can't be with their own families. It's got kind of this negative connotation to the fact that he's doing that, but he doesn't give a shit because he is a crotchety TV executive. He hates Christmas. He's dark. His name's Frank Cross. He has a definition of cross in his office as cross, noun, a thing you nail people to. Which I love that. But he's kind of just a piece of shit. And what happens? He's visited by 3 ghosts.
He's 100%.
He's worse than Ebenezer
releases
Scrooge
a
ever was.
promotion for this Christmas Carol, and it's like, and literally people watch it and have heart attacks or something. Like someone watches
An
it
old
and
lady.
dies or something from
He's-
watching his promotion because it's so graphic.
So they show him a promotional piece, and he goes, "Boy, does that suck! Now I have to kill all of you." And it's this whole like it was a great, great promo piece for Christmas Carol. It was warm, it was nice, but he's like, no, he's like, this is what I would have done, and he plays his promotional piece, and it's like highway killings, and somebody pulls out a shotgun on the road and shoots somebody else in the face, acid rain, and there's people burning up in acid rain, drug addiction, somebody shooting up heroin, there's nuclear explosions, and he goes, "Now more than ever, we have to celebrate the true meaning of Christmas." Scrooge. And he goes, "Pretty good, huh?" And everybody's like, "Ugh."
Like, what did I just watch?
And then later on, you find out an old lady died, had a heart attack while watching the promo, and he goes, "This is great publicity. You can't buy publicity like this. I want this thing run on the hour, every hour."
Yeah, that's amazing.
So he's nuts. He doesn't care.
I will say just as a little aside, Danny Elfman did the music,
Yes.
which gives it this whole nother level of like awesomeness. Yeah, like if you've liked, if you like any film that Tim Burton has done,
Yes.
or any film like the
Oh
Batman
yeah,
films,
he's been working with him
It's
like
easily
for
one
like
of his
46
best.
years.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
and
it's
like
the 80s, yeah.
like this film has like that music is very Tim Burton-esque, where
Yeah.
it's like all the like the vocals and all that kind of stuff. So the
Definitely.
music really stands out and makes it. I think takes it to like another.
Oh,
level
the music's
like that.
the music's absolutely fantastic and stands out.
Yeah.
Richard Donner directed this movie, who did the Lethal Weapon movies. He's done a shitload of Goonies. He did the Goonies. But he did this movie, Scrooged, and it's so good. Like it really is. It's funny. He ends up getting visited by 3 ghosts.
Oh, and
Ghosts-
Bobcat Goldthwait is amazing.
Bobcat Goldthwait is amazing. He plays Elliot Loudermilk, and he gets fired on like Christmas Eve by him. He's like an executive in the company too, and he fires him, and he becomes a drunk, and it gets worse and worse. So you keep seeing clips of him throughout the movie, and it's just his life is going to fucking shit.
And it's all in like a short period of
day.
time. Yeah, like one day.
Maybe
yeah.
a day. It's all in with like he's fired in the morning, and then you see him. He comes in with a shotgun at the end to kill Frank Cross towards the end of the movie that night. But it's so excellent. His performance, because he's very straight-laced. He's very much not like Bobcat Goldthwait that in the 80s from like Police Academy movies where he's all over the place. He's not like that in the beginning of that movie.
Yeah.
He's very straight-laced. His glasses, he has slick back hair or like, nicely combed hair. He's wearing a suit with a bow tie. And then he just slowly becomes that kind of maniacal, crazy, wild Bobcat Goldthwait that you know.
Yeah.
And he's like... Yeah, he's out of his mind. He's out of his mind.
Yeah, he's not that good.
But it's great. I mean, it's just he gets visited by the 3 ghosts. The Ghost of Christmas Past is a cab driver.
David Johnson or something like that.
Yeah, maybe.
Honestly,
Something like that. He's actually a rock and he's a rock singer.
Yeah.
Actually, that guy.
Yeah, David Johansen.
Yeah,
Johansson,
yeah,
that's
exactly. Niagara Falls, Frankie, Angel. Remember that?
Yeah.
I love the way he talks too.
Oh,
Can you
he's
get me
great.
to the IBC building? Which floor? He's great. He's great. Go back to Jersey, you moron. Listen, Frank, I know absolutely everything. You see, I'm the ghost. He's great. Ghost of Christmas Present. Carol Kane. She's the fairy or whatever who keeps beating the shit out of him.
Yeah, she's
Look,
great.
A toaster. Sometimes you have to slap them in the face to get their attention. She's great, and then it goes to Chris.
She's from SNL, right?
No, she wasn't SNL. She's from Taxi.
Right.
Taxi.
With Danny DeVito and
Andy Kaufman was in that.
Kaufman,
yeah, she actually played the love interest to Andy Kaufman's character in that show.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Yeah. Okay.
I think she was on that show Fridays, which was like a rip-off of Saturday Night Live that was on for a very short amount of time.
Okay.
I think she was on that show.
Dude, I'm looking through the cast right now. This is crazy.
Oh, it's a great
I
cast.
forgot about all these people.
Oh, Robert Mitchum's in that movie. Alfred Woodard. Karen Allen, which is Marion Ravenwood from Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yeah.
She plays Claire. Oh, she's great in it.
Yeah.
Anyway, so he finds out, you see into his past, and he always had a shitty family life or whatever. He was stuck in front of the TV at all times. He did meet this woman, though, at one point in his life, Claire, who he was in love with, and kind of started breaking him out of the shell and got him into Christmas, but he ruined that because he's kind of a piece of shit. It's a different spin on Christmas Carol. It's not exactly
it was a weird thing. It was almost like he was just kind of like he met her, and then he decided to pursue
his career
in television because he grew up on television.
Yeah.
You understand why he had so much attention on TV and being involved in that as from his childhood, and then his mentor became the boss. His boss became his mentor, and he was kind of like they portray him as kind of a piece of shit, but not like a super piece of shit.
No, he's a womanizer.
He was just kind of like this womanizer who was a little kind of greedy.
Yeah.
But then Bill Murray's character takes it to this whole nother
evil
level.
Yes.
Although Bill Murray's character didn't seem like that much of a womanizer. They didn't play up that aspect.
Never
of it. He
did,
was just
actually.
evil.
Although he did mess around with his assistant a little bit. You get that throughout the movie a little bit. She's kind of rubbing his shoulders, and he's kind of grabbing her a little bit. There's that scene when she gives him the newspaper with the old lady who died.
That was weird. It makes you feel dark.
He's probably banging his assistant.
Okay.
But they never really get.
They never
go
really
into that.
show it though.
But you get that idea that he's a piece of shit. Let's just put it that way. And his boss is the one who comes visit him as a ghost.
Yeah.
That tells him he's going to be visited by 3 ghosts.
Right.
And kindness should have been mine. Remember that?
Yeah.
Anyways.
That's where he shoots him up with the gun, and then he drinks.
Blow, blammo, blam, bow, bow.
I need to watch it again. I
No.
don't remember a lot of the scenes from it.
Well,
You're not a
what
ghost.
makes that movie
You're
stand
an
out?
hallucination brought on by alcohol, vodka, poisoned by Chernobyl.
That's true. He did say that. There's the movie culminates to this incredible ending that's so. It's the scene where I every time I watch it I get choked up, and it's because of Bill Murray's it's the way he does it, and it's one of these things. It does not feel scripted at all. It feels totally ad-libbed. Yeah,
it was ad-libbed. I looked it up. He was actually,
and even the reaction of the people around him while he's doing it seems real.
Yes.
It seems like the film breaks from being a film, and he starts talking to the audience.
Yeah, he talks to the camera. I mean, because okay, so let's set it up.
Yeah.
He basically interrupts the live broadcast of this Christmas Carol on Christmas Eve, the one that he's putting on.
After he sees the ghost of Christmas Future.
That's
Yes,
right. He finally realizes who he should be and that he should be kind and what it's all about and the true meaning of Christmas and all that. And he interrupts the scene in Christmas Carol where Ebenezer flips the coin down.
Everyone?
Well, he does a little bit, yeah. But he flips the coin down to the kid and he cuts into the fucking camera shot and grabs the coin. He goes, "Oh, I got it!" And then he interrupts.
And this is live.
This is live
on TV.
And his boss is watching, and it's like a whole fucking thing. And he basically interrupts, and he breaks the fourth wall, and he shows them the behind the scenes of everything that's going on. And he starts talking to the camera, and it was all pretty much improvised and ad-libbed at this point. He starts talking to everybody and say, let's get champagne down here and let's celebrate. It's Christmas. Come on, it's a party. And he's like, anyway, I love just the whole interaction. Like you said, it's completely authentic. You feel that it's real. And there's a lot of not rehearsed dialogue. The way he's talking is very conversational.
Yeah. It's extremely natural.
Yes.
And it feels different from the rest of the film.
It does. Can I quote a little bit of what he said?
Yeah, it's one of my favorite.
I love it. I mean, he goes, there are people who are having trouble making their miracle happen. There are people who don't have enough to eat. There are people who are cold. You can go out and say hello to these people. You could take an old blanket out of the closet and go to them and say, here. You can make them a sandwich and say, oh, by the way, here. I get it now. That if you give, then it can happen. Then the miracle could happen to you. It's not just the poor and the hungry. It's everybody who's got to have this miracle. And it can happen tonight for all of you. If you believe in the spirit thing, the miracle will happen. And then you'll want it to happen again tomorrow. You won't be one of those bastards who say Christmas is once a year and it's a fraud. It's not. It can happen every day. You just gotta want that feeling. And if you like it and you want it, you'll get greedy for it. You want it every day of your life and it can happen to you. I believe in it now. I believe it's gonna happen to me now. I'm ready for it. It's great. It's a good feeling. It's really better than I felt in a long time. I'm ready. Have a Merry Christmas, everybody. And then the little kid comes over. And he goes,
Whoa, hold on. We gotta like applaud that.
This is
performance.
very, like,
very good.
yeah.
That
That
was
good?
really good. You nailed
Oh,
it.
wow.
Thank you. With the fucked up throat, too.
Yeah, that's what I was
I
like,
feel like
wow.
that added to the
Yeah,
impact.
yeah.
And then the kid comes up.
This is a
Little
phenomenon.
Calvin comes up. The one who's
Yeah,
been a mute
so-
throughout the whole film.
Whole film, this kid's not said a goddamn word.
So he comes
Yeah.
over and he tugs on
Ever
his
since
coat
his
jacket.
father was murdered.
And he saw it in front of,
he saw his
man.
father get murdered,
And
yeah.
so he walks up to him on the live broadcast. He tugs on his sleeve and he goes, "Did I forget something, big man?" And he nods and he goes, "God bless us, everyone."
Yeah.
Oh, and then everybody goes up and gasps and and then they
That's
end
when the
with
water
that,
falls.
That's right. And then they end with that song. Remember the song?
Yeah.
Annie
give
Lennox
him
and
a
Al Green.
helping hand, put a little love in your heart.
And the world will be a better place in the world.
Yeah, he starts talking to the audience
be
and he's
a
like, everybody to
better
the left.
place
Or now all the guys.
for you.
Now all the ladies. Yeah,
And
it's
me.
great.
Just wait and see. I can't do it.
Yeah.
Voice is shot. Even without my voice shot, I can't.
I need to-
no.
It's
Great.
one
He
of my
starts singing.
favorite.
Everybody starts singing, and then the audience starts singing along. And he's like, "All right, everybody on the left side and the right. Okay,
Yeah.
you who's been talking throughout the whole movie. You, just you. All right, the men. All right, the real men."
I wish I had seen that in theaters.
He just like revitalized that film for me. I might have to go watch it.
Oh,
I might have to
totally
go
watch it, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, I
So
watched it
good.
a long time ago. I mean, it was great. I remember a long time ago. It was a
Yeah.
great film. I just,
Yeah.
it wasn't one that stuck with me. I
Yeah.
don't know.
I think it's
it's
honestly
really-
It wasn't.
for
It wasn't.
me,
It was bad. It was good. It's just one. I
Yeah.
think.
We
'cause-
watch it though. Yeah.
For me, it was always that scene. It was like that scene at the end, that last like 5 minutes of the film, like just had such a huge impact
Yeah.
that the rest of the film I started to like really enjoy.
Yep.
Because I knew, like, and then it would come to that moment, and when I watched that movie, and I was like, oh, this is good. This is like a different take on
Yeah.
Christmas Carol. I like it. But that scene,
It's a great
when
movie,
it
but that
gets-
scene brings
gets
it to a whole new level.
real. Yeah, you're just like, I was like, wow.
Yeah,
Bill
he gets
Murray.
really honest too. Like he addresses his brother in there about how he hasn't been a great brother, and
wow.
acknowledges some of his flaws. Like he really, I don't know. It feels so authentic. Like
It
not
feels
only is
very
he
personal,
owning
yeah.
what he's been in the past,
Yeah.
he's saying that was wrong,
Right.
and this is what you should actually be like, and this is what it really means.
Right.
It's great. It really is, and it was all. I love that it was all improvised and ad libbed.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great movie.
I'm finally crying. No, I'm just kidding. we talked
we
about
can't
a
break-
lot
we
of
can't
good
break
films.
Thiago.
I mean, I'm gonna watch Scrooged. I'm gonna watch a couple of ones. I think I want to watch Family Man again. I don't know.
That's no man.
I might want to hit that. Is there a film that you guys like? Give one Christmas film that someone should watch right now.
Scrooged,
Scrooged.
100%.
I mean, I think that a lot of people should watch The Snowman.
Good.
It's
Scrooge,
I agree.
Snowman.
Because I feel like a lot of people haven't
seen it, yeah.
And there's tons. I mean, you should watch Christmas Vacation. You should watch
Elf.
One, I
Elf.
said one. I
Elf.
said one. I
Elf,
said,
Die
stop
Hard.
it, people.
Home Alone,
This
Home
is
Alone
getting
2.
out of
Don't
hand.
forget,
okay, this is overwhelming.
Batman Returns. Also
Yes.
watch that as a Christmas movie.
But we talked about all those movies
We did.
recently.
No, we recently talked. I just wanted to give him one.
Yeah, so I'm saying Scrooged.
Scrooged.
I will say The Snowman, the 1982 Snowman, not the
Animation.
not the new Snowman murder film that came out with Michael Fassbender. Not that film.
Not that-
I'm talking about
yeah.
an animated short.
1988.
It's 27 minutes long.
Yeah.
Came out in 1982.
Probably find it
82?
online, yeah.
Okay.
Hey, what about you?
I think I'm gonna go with Family Man.
Really?
I
Okay,
think
good.
that's still
Yeah,
just a
stick with it.
really great family
Great.
film.
It is a fantastic
Great.
movie. Yeah.
This was a great list. I'm gonna watch those films. I'm gonna watch Scrooge definitely. That's gonna
Yeah.
be priority one.
Good.
Because me and my wife we're doing like pajama nights for Christmas films. So,
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So, all right, everyone. Thank you for joining us at Get to the Podcast. That's Get to the Podcast with the number 2. Happy holidays. I'm Thiago D'Souza.
I'm Nick Gambino. Merry
I-
Christmas and Happy Holidays.
Oh, now
Sorry.
I gotta follow up with that.
I mean, whatever. He said that, and I was like, I feel like I want to say that too.
Oh, all right. I'm Neil Carson, and happy holiday.
Oh, no,
Think of
nobody's-
your fellow man, lend him
A
a
helping hand, put a little love in your heart.
and the world will
be a better place in the world.
It will be a
Aw.
better place
For you
and
and
me.
me.
Just
Just
wait
wait
and
and
see. You do it. I can't.
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.